All right, let's talk about something that's on every business owner's mind, or at least it should be, surviving a cyber attack. It's really not a question of if your organization will face one, but when. So let's dive right in.
I want you to seriously think about that for a second. Right now, an alert flashes on your screen, your data starts disappearing, and your phone starts ringing off the hook with panicked customers. Do you know what to do in that first critical hour? For most people, the honest answer is a pretty terrifying no. And in today's world, that's just a risk you can't afford to take.
And this isn't some theoretical threat we're talking about. It is absolutely exploding. The FBI reported that the pandemic basically created a perfect storm for cybercriminals. The result? A staggering 300% spike in reported incidents. The game has totally changed, and believe me, the stakes are higher than they have ever been.
So you gotta ask, right? What caused this massive shift? Well, it really comes down to a couple of key factors that completely redrew the security map, leaving companies scrambling to defend a battlefield that changed almost overnight.
The biggest driver, by far, was the huge shift to remote work. All of a sudden, you had employees accessing sensitive company data from their personal laptops on their home Wi-Fi networks. That traditional security perimeter, the one built around the office, it just dissolved. And in its place, countless new doors and windows were opened for attackers to exploit.
And that brings us to a really crucial change in mindset. Thinking of a cyber attack as just a possibility is, well, it's dangerously outdated. It's an inevitability. The only real question you should be asking yourself is, how prepared are we going to be when it finally happens?
To get prepared, you first have to understand where you're even vulnerable. This is what security pros call your attack surface. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Imagine your company is a house. Your attack surface is all the doors, all the windows, the chimney, any potential way in. The bigger your house, the more ways an intruder can try to get inside.
So, to put a more formal definition on it, your attack surface is the sum of all your potential vulnerabilities. We're talking everything from software and hardware to your networks and, yes, even your own employees. Every single one of those connection points is a potential entry point, and in this remote work era, that surface area has grown exponentially. Now here's where it gets really fascinating. You need to understand who you're up against. We're not talking about some lone hacker in a hoodie hunched over a keyboard in a basement anymore. Nope. We are talking about a highly organized professional criminal service industry. It is a full-blown underground economy.
And just look at how sophisticated this industry is. You can literally hire specialists for every single stage of an attack. You can subscribe to services like ransomware as a service that even come with customer support. You can go on a marketplace and buy advanced hacking tools. This isn't a hobby for these people. It's an incredibly profitable business.
So, when you're up against an entire criminal industry, it's no surprise that the consequences of a breach are absolutely devastating. And the cost, it goes so far beyond just losing a bit of data or paying a ransom. Let's look at a really famous real-world example. You probably remember this. Back in 2017, Verizon was in the middle of buying Yahoo. But then, some pretty bad news dropped, a massive data breach that hadn't been disclosed before. And that news had a direct, very tangible impact on what the company was worth.
So how big of an impact are we talking? Verizon negotiated the final sale price down by $350 million. Let that sink in. A third of $1 billion in value just wiped out, all because of a security failure. That breach didn't just tarnish Yahoo's reputation, it hit them right in the wallet.
And look, for smaller companies, the stakes are even higher. It's estimated that a jaw-dropping 60% of small businesses are forced to shut their doors for good within just 6 months of a major cyber attack. It's not just an inconvenience for them, it can be an extinction-level event.
Okay, so the threat is real, it's organized, and the consequences are dire. But this isn't a story about doom and gloom. It's a story about preparation. And the absolute key to survival is having a plan. That plan is called incident response.
Incident response, or IR for short, is really just an organized way of dealing with a cyber attack. It's your pre-planned playbook. It's what lets you manage the chaos and act decisively and effectively when you're under an insane amount of pressure.
A solid IR plan is really the only thing that stands between you and becoming just another statistic. It's the tool you use to minimize the damage, to get back on your feet as quickly as possible, and to protect the very things we just saw are so vulnerable: your data, your reputation, and of course, your revenue.
So what does a good incident response plan actually look like?
Well, most standard frameworks, including the big one from NIST, that's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, break the whole process down into 6 core steps. It gives you a clear roadmap to get you from that initial moment of crisis all the way through to recovery.
And this visual lays it out just perfectly. You can see it's a logical progression. It starts with preparation, then identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and finally reporting. This isn't just a random list. It's a life cycle designed to manage an incident from the very beginning to the very end.
Let's just quickly walk through these. First up, preparation. This is all the work you do before an attack even happens. Making your plan, training your people, getting your tools ready. Next, identification. This is that moment of truth where you confirm, yep, this is a real incident, and you figure out how bad it is. Then you move to containment. Your first priority is to stop the bleeding, to keep the attack from spreading. Think of it like digital triage. After that, eradication. Once it's contained, you have to find the attacker in your systems and remove them completely. Then comes recovery. This is where you carefully bring your systems back online from clean backups and double-check everything is safe. And finally, reporting. You document everything that happened so you can learn from it and make sure your defenses are even stronger next time.
So what's the bottom line here? If you remember nothing else, remember these 4 things. First, always assume you are a target. I don't care how big or small you are. Second, remember your people are often your biggest vulnerability. Third, you have to accept that playing defense is always harder than playing offense. And finally, the golden rule of it all. Prepare for when, not if.
Ultimately, it really does all come down to this. An attack on your organization isn't just a possibility, it's a certainty on some timeline. The only thing you truly have control over is how you will respond when that day finally comes. So let me ask you one last time. Will you be ready?